Welcome to Staging the Third Act. I'm your host, Janine Escalier-Cato, and this is a show by, about, and for baby boomers continuing their legacy without children or grandchildren. And the reason I produced this show is because I'm one of those baby boomers, and I really wanted to find my tribe of people, because without children and grandchildren, we have to find our own creativity in the last phase of our lives, the creative phase. So usually I have writers, dancers, actors, people that are creating and finding their bliss at this time of their lives. But I'm excited today because my guest wanted to talk about something that all of us have to face at this time of our lives, even though we're doing fantastic things and we have our creative spirits flowing. My guest, Bruce Pressler, who is a very exuberant, youthful, handsome, gorgeous guy. You'd never know it if you looked at him. He has Parkinson's, and he would like to share his journey. And I'm thrilled because most people want to share the things that they're doing positively, which is what this show is about. But it's also good to have another side of how we navigate this time in our lives positively and with a great spirit. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Bruce Pressler.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for being on the show.
No, it's great being here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. And it was really fun when we met for lunch. I really enjoyed getting to know you.
You too.
And I was hoping, when your sister-in-law, a friend of mine, suggested that you come on the show, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm sure he's creative and has all kinds of exciting things to talk about. And when I called you, you said, I really just want to talk about Parkinson's. Yeah. And I thought, oh my God, this is going to be great. Because most people, they don't really want to talk about health issues per se. But you are a crusader. And I think it's important that we have people out there crusading for things that everybody in their lives have to deal with at some point or another.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about you and your background and when you first knew that you had Parkinson's.
Okay. Well, I was born in San Francisco, raised in the Hayward area, grew up in the East Bay, lived all over California, lived in Palm Springs, moved up to Lake Tahoe for a while. Then I settled in Sacramento. I was a teacher, a long-term sub teacher for 3 years in high school. I loved that. And then I got into the software corporate training and ended up teaching at trade schools. I had to change careers in 2000 because I was laid off from the software company. So I went to a trade school, got a certificate in medical billing and coding, and took off, realized I really didn't like doing that job, but I loved teaching. So I got into teaching medical billing and coding. I only did it for about a year, and I taught for many years after that.
Great?
Yeah. So I love teaching.
Yeah.
That was my creative outlet in a way. And then the Parkinson's came about. I didn't know I had it for a very long time. The first sign was in 2000, and I was visiting my parents, and my mother said, "Why is your hand shaking?" My left hand shakes. And I said, "I don't know, it always does that." I didn't think about it being a disease or anything. And then about 6 months later, I noticed I had lost my sense of smell. And that's usually the first symptom of Parkinson's is somebody losing their sense of smell.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I blamed it on a homeopathic cold medicine called Zicam, and I would use the nasal swab that they took off the market. So I said, oh, I lost my sense of smell because of that. So Parkinson's was never in my mind. It's just things that happen. Doesn't everybody have a hand that shakes a little bit?
My hands shook all the time when I was younger.
Yeah, and losing my sense of smell, I could blame it on something, And then I noticed that my muscles would just get really, really stiff for no reason. And I thought, oh, I'm not moving enough, so I need to get up and move. And I got a bike and I started riding my bike, thinking that was the issue, You still never realizing that I had a progressive neurological disease.
And you were young.
Yeah, I was 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's young
My
onset.
God, you look 45 now.
Yeah, thanks.
That's
I'm
crazy.
66.
No way.
Yeah, I have good genes.
Yeah.
Good genes. My father died with very little gray hair in his 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, and my mom was up and around until she died at 96.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I've got good genes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So for the 2000s, I was going to UC Davis Health, and I knew something was wrong. Couldn't pinpoint it, but I knew something was wrong. And I went to my doctor, my primary care physician, God, every month. I went to specialists, a GI specialist for my stomach issues. I had an MRI on my brain.
What was going on with your stomach?
Well, I had a bleeding ulcer back in 2000 when all this started. And I was bleeding internally, so they had to go in and cut out part of my stomach.
Was that related to Parkinson's?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, because Parkinson's gut issues are very prevalent. And there's theories that it can either start in the brain or start in the stomach and go up the vagus nerve.
Huh.
Yeah, so I think mine started in the stomach. It's hard to tell, but I've had 4 stomach surgeries.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think that's all related.
Sure.
Yeah, and then UC Davis, they were never putting much together. I went to a neurologist for my hand. He said, well, it's essential tremor. It's nothing major. He didn't listen to my other symptoms.
Interesting.
You know, and so then in about 2018, 2019, I got on my partner's health insurance.
Oh, good.
He works for the state. I had UC Davis, but I was working for the state a little bit for a few years. I was on their insurance. So I got on his Kaiser. And I happened to faint at work one day. I was teaching, and we were on a break, and I fainted. And I went to the ER, and the Kaiser doc there said, you know, I had just urinated, and he said sometimes that can cause fainting, you know. I didn't like that. So I went to my primary care and I said, I'd like an MRI just to see if there's anything going on as to why.
You went 18 years without being diagnosed?
Yes, and that's normal. Wow. It's very normal. Yeah. Diagnosed, 18 years is a long time, but most people will have it for 4 or 5 years at least before it's diagnosed, you know. So I got the MRI, and the neurologist called me and he said the MRI was clear. We don't really know why you fainted. It could have been a medication reaction, you know. And so then he said, but I want to talk to you about your Parkinson's.
What?
Okay. I have Parkinson's. So I went to see him, and we talked about it, and he diagnosed the Parkinson's. This is 3 months after going to Kaiser.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I went to my primary care physician, and he had gotten the notes that I had Parkinson's. So I said, you know.
And they didn't know? I mean, they didn't talk to you about, you were like, what? I have Parkinson's?
Yeah, and that was it, you know. And so my primary care, he said, let me do a test. And he put his hand here and he had me move my elbow. And I said, but I shake on this side. And he goes, no, you have it on this side too. And he could feel the muscle rigidity as I was moving my arm. Okay. Now there are specialized neurologists called MDS, movement disorder specialists, that specialize in Parkinson's, and Kaiser has one. So I went to him for a third opinion, and he confirmed that I had Parkinson's. So I got 3 opinions, and there's no there's no real test for Parkinson's. There is what's called a DAT scan, DAT, and it measures the dopamine in the brain. 'Cause Parkinson's is, I should say this at the beginning, I'm losing dopamine in my brain. So, and dopamine is the chemical
that controls movement.
Controls everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And so I'm losing the dopamine, so I have to take meds to
replenish.
Yeah.
Whatever they can.
Yeah. So this was in 2019 when I was diagnosed, just before COVID, and wasn't on any meds, and then I started noticing things. Now I had this other neurologist that I was supposed to go to, and he was, every symptom that I had, he would say, "Oh, you're getting older," because Parkinson's symptoms mimic getting older. You know, fatigue, all this kind of stuff. And so,
but you'd had it for a long time.
Yeah. And so then I went to the MDS neurologist, and he prescribed the meds to replenish, which has helped a lot.
Good.
But I live with it every single day. People look at me and they see, "Oh, you're healthy."
Yeah.
You know, but they don't see the fatigue that I have every single day. For the last month and a half, I've been nauseous all the time. And I think it's because I need a medication change. Yeah, because they have to really adjust your meds all the time because the disease progresses. Yeah. So I was relieved when I got the diagnosis.
I bet.
You know, I wasn't upset. There was no reason to get upset. I was relieved because I knew.
Now you have something to go by.
Exactly. I knew that I wasn't a hypochondriac.
Right.
And that was what I was worried about the most.
Is it in my head?
Yeah. And every time I would say I didn't feel well to somebody, you know, I was thinking, oh, they think I'm a hypochondriac, because it was all the time. And I didn't mention anything to anybody because I didn't want to be known as the hypochondriac. I met my partner in 2005, I think, probably. So I didn't know I had Parkinson's. He didn't know I had Parkinson's.
Wow.
The whole time he's known me, I've had Parkinson's.
Wow.
And he used to say things like, "You're sickly." And I used to hate that. Because, no, I'm not. You know, and then it was interesting. We were in Washington, D.C. We were at the portrait gallery, okay? And this woman we didn't know just joined us to walk through the portrait gallery. And she said to Mark, she goes, "Is your partner disabled?" She saw something.
Interesting.
And this was before my diagnosis. So she noticed something. So I said, "Disabled? You know, I'm tired all the time, and my muscles are stiff, you know, but I'm getting older."
But, well, this has nothing to do with anything, but for her to even say that is weird.
Yeah.
But how did he react when you got the diagnosis? Did he feel like, "Oh, I'm so sorry"?
No, he was happy.
No,
also.
but I mean, for saying you were sickly.
Oh, yeah. I've never. I tell him, you know, he used to call me sickly, you know, and I used to hate that, you know. But he was right. And I didn't think anything of it, you know. I'm getting older, so these symptoms come around. And I can remember when I was in my apartment, and I would realize that my legs were so tight and stiff, and I thought, "Oh, I'm not exercising enough," you know. But it wasn't that; it was the Parkinson's, because I was exercising.
Sure.
You know, so you don't realize.
How horrible, though, to feel trapped in your body and not know why.
Yes.
Now that when you know why, it's like, oh, thank God.
exactly. And that's why I like to talk about it, because I like to bring awareness to Parkinson's.
Because some people out there may be going through these same symptoms and not knowing why.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And don't take the opinion of your doctor if you don't believe it. If you know something's wrong, keep going to the doctor. Keep going to the doctor, And mention, if you have a slight tremor, if you're always fatigued and your muscles are always stiff, go to a doctor. Ask about Parkinson's. Okay? It's a very hard diagnosis because it's symptomology.
Yeah.
And every Parkinson's person has different symptoms.
I know 2 people that have it, and they have completely different lifestyles.
Yep.
And completely different onset, and just how quick it came and how long they've dealt with it and everything. Totally different.
Yep.
And you're the third that's totally different.
Yep, exactly. And the main medicine to stop the progression is exercise. That's the only thing that will stop the progression.
Well, it doesn't stop.
No, slow.
Yeah.
You're right. Slow the progression is exercise. So there is a program called Rock Steady Boxing. It's headquartered in Indianapolis. It's a nationwide program. The coaches have to be certified by them. And it's a boxing program for Parkinson's people only. And in Sacramento, we have, we're very fortunate because we have a woman, Melissa Tafoya, my coach, who brought basically Rock Steady Boxing to Northern California.
Wow.
She's a trained personal trainer, has certifications in all the Parkinson's things. And she has her own gym. I'm there 3 or 4 days a week exercising. I volunteer there twice a week for the classes, the people with advanced symptoms. Some are in wheelchairs, some are on walkers.
Wow, what do you do?
I just help everybody and give them encouragement.
Nice.
Yeah. And it really helps me.
That's really
emotionally and mentally, and being around these people.
Sure. And I'm sure you make them feel like, oh yeah, I can do this.
Exactly. We had a woman come in a wheelchair, didn't think she could do anything, and then one of those football sleds that they push down the field, it's 125 pounds, 105 pounds. She got out of her wheelchair and was able to push it down. When you see something like that, it's just amazing, and it really hits your heart.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I volunteer.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it keeps me going.
Yeah.
Because
it's your legacy. This is your legacy.
Right. And I know it's appreciated. I do it just because I want to. And even on days when I'm not feeling well, and I know I'm not going to really exercise, I still volunteer. Because if they can make it in their wheelchair, I can get there.
Yeah.
At least to help them out.
Yeah. That's
we're very lucky.
It's called giving back in a huge way.
Exactly. So we're very lucky to have Rock Steady Boxing.
Is it close to where you live?
Yeah, it's in Midtown, and I live in Midtown.
Great.
So it's called Hope in Your Corner, and she has about 80 clients, I think.
Wow.
Most with Parkinson's, some with other movement disorders, and she does some personal training also. So that has, I tell her all the time, she's going to hate this, but she saved my life.
Wow.
Because once I found Rock Steady Boxing, I found the exercise, the camaraderie, and the support. Because I'm at the gym with other Parkinson people, so it's like a support group.
Exactly.
As well as the exercise.
Well, I started this program because I was in my darkest place ever in 2020, not just because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I lost some dear, dear people in my life, and I just was in a dark, dark place. And these were the people that were going to get me through when my mom passes and not having children. I thought, how can I be without these people?
Right.
And I thought, my therapist said, you need to find a creative outlet for your grief because you're in it bad. And I said, I need to find my tribe.
Yeah.
My tribe.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, I need to find my tribe of people who don't have children or
Right.
grandchildren to put all their energy and love into. And it's true. This has given me a whole new feeling of there are people out there just like me having wonderful lives.
Sure.
You know, and it's the same feeling.
Yeah.
It's like you got to find your tribe.
Exactly. And having no grandchildren. I have a partner that I've been with for years, and he's very, very supportive. Anything I need, he will take care of.
Tell the viewers about the dog story, how you always wanted a dog. And
Oh, okay.
I love this.
I've always had pets all my life. And Mark, my partner, never had pets. And I always wanted a dog. And I kept joking around that I want a dog. You know, what if I brought a Chihuahua home? And he said, well, where are you moving to? You know, that's how adamant. And then he read articles about dogs and people with Parkinson's and how it's really helpful. He came to me one day and he said, I think we should get a dog. And I said, oh, okay. So we looked at the shelters. Always get a rescue dog. And we found this little Chihuahua Jack Russell mix. Gorgeous, beautiful, friendly, and she has helped me so much.
In what way?
Emotionally, when I'm feeling down, just holding her, having her lick my face, you know, just that unconditional love that a dog gives you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been great. And, you know,
I bet you Mark likes her.
he loves her. He put aside his feelings about having a dog because of me. And now he thinks, how could I ever live without her?
I love it.
Yeah. And that's going to happen to anybody who gets a dog because that's what they do.
They're magic.
They are. They are truly magic. So, that's how supportive he is, you know, to think, you know, well, this is going to help him. I don't really want a dog, but I think.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So having that support in my life is great.
Yes.
You know, I have a family support also, very, very small family, but I get the support. So it's been a journey. And
that's the word.
Yeah, and I'm never going to beat it. I can slow it down. If you have cancer, you can go into remission. You know, something like Parkinson's, you know, hopefully it's going to be 20, 30 years down the road that I'm incapacitated. But who knows, maybe I never will be. And that's Parkinson's, you know. So it's just insidious, hard disease to live with, to get diagnosed. And it's out there. I think it's 60 million people worldwide have Parkinson's.
Wow.
Yeah. And only 9% of Parkinson's people will see an MDS neurologist.
What?
30% see their primary care physician. A lot see their general neurologist. But in Sacramento, we're so lucky to have MDS neurologists at the health systems.
That's great. Yeah. You're in a great spot.
Yeah, and the Rocksteady Boxing. So I'm fortunate. I have a great attitude.
You do.
I want to bring awareness
You do.
to Parkinson's. You know, I have extreme fatigue, extreme apathy, something called Parkinson's apathy, where you just don't want to do anything. You can't do anything. You know, I've had to, you know, there was a movie that I wanted to see. We're going with friends. I'd wanted to see it in the big screen, and I just couldn't go that day.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's hard.
It is hard. So living with it is hard, but getting people to understand that
Yes.
we're out there, and I may look healthy. When I use my disabled parking,
Oh, I'm sure people go, why is he?
I've had one person ask, why are you parking there? And I told them I had Parkinson's disease, and sometimes my legs just are so stiff I can't walk long distances.
What'd they say?
Oh, okay. I never would have known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there again, there's your opportunity to teach.
Exactly.
And I love that.
Exactly.
And I was just giving, I can't believe the time. I was just giving.
Is it over?
No.
Okay.
I was giving the signal we have 5 minutes, which is my time to ask you anything you want to give the viewers as a parting message. Because I think you've given the message all throughout the show, but is there anything you want to say about the Rocksteady Gym or anything you want to impart as more information for
Sure.
your viewers?
If anybody out there has Parkinson's, find a Rocksteady Boxing. There is Rocksteady Boxing in Roseville, Sacramento, Midtown, and West Sacramento. So there's opportunities for people. If you can't get into a Rocksteady Boxing, exercise, walk. Walking is great. Ride a bike if you can.
Yes, I've heard riding bike is
Yeah.
great.
Exercise is the only way to stop the progression. The meds we take only help us to function. The only way to slow the progression is to exercise. Exercise. If you think you might have Parkinson's, go to your doctor and ask them about it.
Now, you said that, you know, like you're lucky you live in Sacramento where there's a lot of specialists.
Yeah.
But how do people, if they think they have it and they get diagnosed, get to those specialists?
It's hard. I'm on a Facebook group for Parkinson's,
Okay.
and some people say I have to drive 15 hours to see an MDS.
Wow.
So it's tough for people in most parts of the country. But I'm very fortunate. I'm in Sacramento. I'm doing great,
Yeah.
and I have a positive attitude, so I
think
stick with that.
The positive, because the people I know that have it, one person I know, he's pretty much relegated to a wheelchair,
Yeah.
and his voice is pretty much gone, but he's got an attitude of 10,000 kings. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I have people who love me, who are caring
Yeah.
for me. And the other one he's had it since he was in his 40s, he's in his 70s. He's still walking,
Yeah.
has a cane.
Yeah.
He's still living a full life.
Yeah.
So it's attitude.
It is.
It's attitude.
And you said blessing. I consider Parkinson's a blessing for me. I've met so many people, and I help so many people. So for me, Parkinson's is a blessing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, you're a blessing, and you're
Thank
a
you.
blessing in my life, and I'm so glad I met you.
Thank you. I'm so glad I met you too.
Yeah. So thank you, Sarah, your sister.
My sister-in-law, Sarah.
The name of your Facebook group.
There's one called Parkinson's Community. There's a few of them out there.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think people can probably type in Parkinson's and
Exactly. And those are great because I didn't know there was such a thing as an MDS neurologist until I joined the Facebook group.
Oh, interesting.
And all my symptoms, you know, I can say, does anybody else have this? 'Cause we never know. Is it Parkinson's? Is it getting older? You know?
Or some other
Yeah,
neurological.
at night, my eyes water incessantly. My nose runs incessantly. It's Parkinson's. It's because things don't work right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's a blessing. I have no sadness over it.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's really encouraging.
Thank you.
Really encouraging. Well, thank you, Bruce. It's again, like I said, it's been a pleasure, and
You're
I can't.
welcome.
When I have great guest time, there's no time.
Yeah.
It's like boom, seconds, and it's over
It goes
because
fast.
it's so fascinating. Thank you again, and
You're welcome.
thank you for watching. Staging the Third Act with Janine Escalier-Cato, and I hope to catch you on the next show because you never know what you're going to find and what you're going to learn. Thank you.
Thanks.